No other way to say it. Today was a horrific day for this country, the deadliest day for our troops in 10 years. The suicide attacks today at the Kabul airport are what happened when you trust the Taliban and let them call the shots. The ISIS-K bombers made it through outer perimeter Taliban checkpoints before they got to the Abbey Gate, which gives direct access inside the Kabul airport. 12 Marines and a Navy medic killed, 15 U.S. military members injured, and of course, dozens of Afghans have been killed. The video is horrifying to see. And yes, I did say ISIS. After a nice long break, courtesy of Donald Trump, ISIS is now back on the radar in a big way. And incredibly, the Taliban have become our partners. The Islamist militant group that harbored al-Qaeda for years and likely directly assisted them with 9/11 is now providing our perimeter security around Kabul airport. Isn't that comforting? The Taliban are our first line of defense. Now, to be clear, ISIS-K is the sworn enemy of the Taliban. So you see how this gets complicated. They consider the Taliban as sellouts. The Taliban are not devout enough for ISIS-K. These people are really nuts. ISIS-K and the Taliban, though, are also loosely connected through another terror group known as the Haqqani Network. These are bad guys, too, which works with both ISIS and the Taliban and connect them. The Taliban has a hard enough time controlling its Neanderthal fighters, you begin wondering what happened at the perimeter today that allowed 2 suicide bombers inside that inner circle. You just start to think. And then this Politico story is out today as well. The United States has been giving the names of Americans who should be allowed into the airport to the Taliban. Not just Americans, Afghan allies as well, the ones that the Taliban would most love to torture and kill. We're just giving the Taliban their names, telling them exactly who they are to get them in the inside. A lot of people are calling it a kill list. The naive incompetence of our government on all of this is staggering. We've been talking about this for days now, and we keep seeing more evidence of just how naive the upper echelon of our government is, the way that they trust. The Taliban is telling women right now not to leave their homes because they don't trust their own fighters not to rape and kill them. But we trust the Taliban to not kill our own citizens and Afghans who've been trying to help us defeat the Taliban for the past 20 years. We're quite trusting, aren't we? It's truly incredible. But the Taliban is truthfully the lesser of two evils here. ISIS is responsible today. They have now taken credit for it. ISIS does not want to see the Taliban in charge. ISIS, of course, wants chaos in the country. Jennifer Caffarella, a national security fellow at the Institute for the Study of War, says ISIS will attempt to erode the Taliban's governance and attack the Taliban's religious legitimacy on the ground. U.S. personnel are caught in the middle of a conflict straight out of the Middle Ages, with extremist fanatical religious tribal groups jockeying for power. The Taliban does have a legitimate interest for us to get out, all of our people out, by the 31st. They want us gone, of course. But make no mistake, they are not mourning today, the Taliban are not. They secretly love what happened today, of course. Here's General McKenzie talking about the insane level of danger that our troops are in during this mission.
You don't want to let somebody on an airplane carrying a bomb because that could result in even massive loss of life if an airplane were to be destroyed. So you got to do the searches. We work with our Afghan partners on the ground, the NSU elements, to conduct those searches. But ultimately, Americans have got to be in danger to do these searches. There's really no other way to do it.
He's not wrong. He's really not wrong. There is the obvious question, though. We can't trust the Taliban, and yet we are relying on them to run security. And that just seems so backwards. And even the president addressed it earlier today.
It's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of mutual self-interest. But there is no evidence thus far that I've been given as a consequence by any of our commanders in the field that there has been collusion between the Taliban and ISIS in carrying out what happened today.
He says no evidence of collusion between the Taliban and ISIS. Now, to be fair, this is the same guy that said there's no evidence the Afghan government would fall, and that took 11 days. But to Biden's credit, and we do want to be fair here, the Taliban does have a clear motivation for a clean American exit. He's not wrong about that. So it is unlikely that the Taliban coordinated today's attack at the top. As we said, ISIS-K took responsibility, but they got through Taliban people to get in. But it is possible, of course, against their own best interest in the short term, even though that is the Taliban's interest to get us out cleanly. As we know, they have very little control over their own foot soldiers. The Taliban does. So who knows? This all comes back, though, to the original monumental screw-up by our government. Biden and the rest of them. Sullivan, everybody. Our wide-eyed, idealist leaders in Washington ignoring so many warnings of the Taliban's resurgence, pulling out military from Afghanistan first, leaving everybody inside, pulling out the military first, trusting the Afghan government would stand on its own when people are yelling at them saying the Taliban is going to barrel back in here and take over. They ignored those warnings. They're paying the price now. Again, the Afghan government lasted 11 days. Nobody could believe how fast it fell. Well, some people could. I fail to believe that our leaders couldn't have seen this coming. I just don't think they wanted to see it. They didn't want to believe that it could fail this fast. They wanted to ignore it. They didn't know what to do. And now they're going to pay the price. The president, of course, on this, mostly blaming Donald Trump, despite proudly destroying everything else that Trump set up. I mean, he has been on a mission to destroy everything Trump ever did. Border policy, energy policy, all the common sense, get rid of it. Biden, for some reason, wants you to believe that he had to stick with this. He didn't. But regardless, it's not about leaving. Leaving is still probably the right thing to do. It is the method of leaving, of course. So Biden's excuse to blame Trump on this, like he did today at 5 o'clock, is meaningless to anybody that really understands the situation. For most of this evening's news conference, and let's talk about that now, your president looked completely defeated, bewildered, worn down, tired, and miserable. It was a bizarre spectacle to behold. I'm sure that our enemies loved it. The president saying today the mission must go on.
We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan.
That doesn't instill you with confidence. I don't know what will. Not a lot of confidence in that speech. It was honestly pretty sad to watch in a moment when you wanted somebody to come up there and say, we are going to kick the hell out of ISIS. We're going to barrel in there, and it's going to be the worst day they've ever had tomorrow. We got that instead, and it was really sad. Over the last 2 weeks, we've spoken to expert after expert, and not one person can make a logical argument for why Joe Biden would have chosen to abandon Bagram Air Force Base in the dead of night, which is where we should be doing this entire operation out of. Much easier to secure, much bigger, much faster operation. You can get 10 times as many flights in and out of there quickly. You can get it done. There is no logical explanation for that blunder, one of many blunders. This all right now is the inevitable outcome of the Biden approach to foreign policy. Speak softly, carry no stick. For more insight into today, here you can see the Kabul airport, thanks to Wall Street Journal and their nice map. 7 gates around the facility. We can pull it up full screen again if you guys want. The 2 blasts occurred relatively close together, one at the Abbey Gate, another at the Barron Hotel right outside of the airport. They're very close, kind of bottom right side of that picture. This is known as a complex attack. Following this initial suicide blast, ISIS fighters then opened fire on the crowds near the gate. That's how they killed so many people. Blow them up, start shooting. At the end of the day, everyone seemed to know that this was going to happen. This was very predictable, it seems. It didn't seem to surprise a lot of people in our government. It seems amazing it didn't happen sooner.
Anytime you build a non-combatant evacuation plan like this and you bring in forces, you expect to be attacked. So we thought this would happen sooner or later.
Well, the real prize, of course, for ISIS, and honestly, the Taliban as well, would be to drop a jetliner as soon as it takes off from the airport. That's what they really want to do. That's how you make the biggest impact. You could kill 500 people all at once. Full of Americans and traitor Afghans not willing to live the zealot life of Islamic idiocy. Imagine the nerves right now of those 5,000 American troops that are still working at that airport. Can you even fathom that job right now, knowing that at any moment it's likely a bomb is going to go off? Your government expects it to happen. Your government's saying we're likely to see more of these attacks in the coming days, and yet you remain a sitting duck. checking papers, patting people down, waiting for one of them to explode. Tonight, you got to say, God bless the troops. You really got to say it, and you really got to mean it. Anybody doing that job, some of the bravest people I can even imagine. As for the president, on the other end of the spectrum, he hasn't looked or acted like much of a president since he's been in office. And for most of his 30 minutes today, it was quite embarrassing, except for, and again, we're going to be fair to him, this one brief moment I would say we were proud to see.
We will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
I hope he's serious, and I hope our military will do that job. I don't know how it's going to happen. They're saying right now no additional troops are going in. You'd hope that there's some kind of operation that's going to just rip apart whatever ISIS-K element is in that immediate area. We'll see what happens. Biden says the military will do what is necessary.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.